We live in a veritable bazaar full of different blockchains, all operating in isolation. Yes, these could make up the building blocks of that future token economy that so many of us dream of. However, here's the problem. The economic activities that occur on isolated blockchains are confined to their own chains. That's the reason why the global liquidity of DeFi is pretty much limited to Ethereum only. Imagine if we had an interconnected token economy. Imagine if DeFi could spread outside of ETH and ERC20 tokens. It's almost as if we need an internet of blockchains to unlock the full potential of different cryptocurrencies and blockchain ecosystems. The good news is that such a project exists, and that would be Cosmos. It's a project that I've covered quite a bit in the past. Since then, Atom has been making moves, so this calls for a much-needed follow-up. Does Cosmos still have the potential to be the foundation of an entirely new token economy? I'm going to cover exactly that in this video, as well as share my thoughts on the tokenomics of Atom. Before I get going, there are a few things I need to say. Don't let this delightful attire fool you. I am no financial advisor. Sorry to disappoint. That means that this video is for educational purposes only. Be sure to consult your financial advisor before making any investment decisions. Also, if you've bumbled onto the channel for the first time, then welcome to the Bureau. I've postponed my social life indefinitely to focus on creating top-of-the-line crypto content that covers everything you need to know. If you want to join that rocket ship of crypto knowledge, then smash up that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to switch on those notifications if you want to be the first to know whenever I release another video. Okay, enough shilly-shallying, let's get going. Now, for those of you who are new to Cosmos, we need a bit of an overview. If that's old news to you, then feel free to skip ahead to the rest of my analysis using the timestamps that I've provided below. So, what is Cosmos? In short, it's a customizable, scalable, and interoperable ecosystem of connected blockchains. Okay, so that's a mouthful. But essentially, with Cosmos, you have a decentralized ecosystem of independent blockchains that scale and connect to each other. The cool thing is that this is not limited to blockchains that are built with Cosmos. What that means is that blockchains like Bitcoin and Ethereum can connect to Cosmos as well. That's why Cosmos is the self-proclaimed Internet of blockchains. In terms of its technology stack, there are two key layers that make up Cosmos. The first packages up the networking and consensus layers of the blockchain into a generic engine. This allows developers to focus on building applications. That means application developers don't have to all commit time to building protocol layers to make the network run. This layer is called Tendermint BFT. Braver men than me will probably be used to BFT standing for Battle Force Tank. However, in this case, it's shorthand for Byzantine fault tolerance. Much safer. This is the consensus mechanism of the Cosmos network and includes all the networking functions that are responsible for transmitting transactions and consensus-related messages. The second layer is the application layer, where the Cosmos Software Developer Kit, SDK, is used to enable people to create their own blockchains. It's this SDK which translates many popular programming languages such as Java, C++, and others into a language Cosmos can understand. If you want to dive into the tech in a bit more detail, then I've linked to all the important docs below. Now, I want to move on to explaining the problems that Cosmos solves and why this project is a big deal. The first is the scalability problem that's plaguing so many projects right now. Let's take a look at Ethereum, for example. The guys over there built a pretty revolutionary development platform and virtual machine. This allowed people to build their own decentralized applications, or dApps. The only problem is that it relies on proof-of-work algorithms, which are inherently slow and not very scalable. That's why the Ethereum network is pretty damn slow right now, and why Ethereum gas fees are so high. It's also why we cannot wait to see how things change when Ethereum 2.0 is finally rolled out. With Cosmos, the Tendermint BFT consensus mechanism can process thousands of transactions per second. To put that into context, PayPal processes an average of 193 transactions per second. So yeah, Cosmos could easily handle the average transactional load of PayPal many times over. Pretty damn scalable in my book. What's neat about Tendermint is that it's a generic consensus mechanism. That means that any developer building on Cosmos can use it and can simply focus on building applications instead. Much more efficient. The second problem Cosmos solves is sovereignty. So what the heck do I mean by that? Well, sovereignty structures on other projects can be limiting. Let's take Ethereum, for example. All the apps built on top of ETH need to abide by the Ethereum governance rules. So basically, say I was a developer and I wanted to build an application on Ethereum which required a new feature to be added to the Ethereum virtual machine. I couldn't just go ahead and do that by myself. Instead, I would have to submit a proposal, called an EIP, and this would need to be decided by the Ethereum community. That hot new feature would have to wait quite some time as the EIP worked its way through the ecosystem. Now don't get me wrong, personally I love ETH and I'm a massive supporter of the project. It's just that this is an issue which faces many decentralized open source projects, not just Ethereum. My point here is that governance structures can really complicate the development and usability of applications. Imagine if that hot feature was key to the usability of my dApp, and I could not get my proposal approved by the governance system of the blockchain I was building on. That would kind of reduce the quality of my app, wouldn't it? Cosmos essentially solves this problem of sovereignty by allowing individual developers to build individual blockchains with their own custom governance structure. This means that apps can be built for your users and governed by them too. Pretty nifty. Another major issue solved by Cosmos is the ability to interact with other blockchains outside of the Cosmos ecosystem. The exact term for this is interoperability. The problem is that all these systems speak their own languages and have their logic and rules. This means that it's very hard for cryptocurrency networks like Ethereum and Bitcoin to interact with each other. If you don't have a standard or way of interacting with these different systems, then you encounter a situation where the value becomes fragmented. This means that in most cases, in order to exchange value between these various ecosystems, you'll have to use an exchange. The problem is that those exchanges are fragile. They can be hacked, regulated, or shut down by governments. So it's probably not a good idea to have only a handful of exchanges controlling the conversion of value from one crypto ecosystem to another. The second issue stemming from a lack of interoperability is that this limits the scope of value creation. Think about DeFi and how much bigger that growing industry could be if it included all crypto assets and wasn't constrained to only the Ethereum ecosystem. I'll get into that a little more later on. Oh yeah, that interoperability between different chains is done via the modular Cosmos Hub. That's where the magic happens. This allows for the transaction of different assets to different blockchains through Cosmos's Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol, or IBC. It's also important to point out that Cosmos's solution to all that is done on-chain. This is through something known as a peg zone, which is essentially a blockchain that tracks the state of another blockchain. The awesome thing is that the peg zone itself has fast finality and is therefore compatible with IBC. Its role is to establish finality for the blockchain it bridges. That means that I could essentially trade a Lambo from Lambo Chain for 50,000 pizza tokens from Pizza Chain. One of the crucial bits of tech making that happen on Cosmos would be this peg zone. Oh yes, another neat feature is that Cosmos also has the ability to connect both proof of work and proof of stake blockchains. I now want to move on to explaining how Cosmos is different from pretty much every other blockchain project out there. I'm sure you good people are only too aware of the plethora of self-proclaimed Ethereum killers out there. Yes, Cosmos provides developer tools and has already cannibalized some apps from these platforms. However, I think Cosmos is different and doesn't really belong in that bucket, and here's why. The Cosmos team believes that pretty much any group of stakeholders will most likely end up wanting their own blockchain. Whereas the likes of Neo, Ethereum, and EOS make application developers build on top of their own chain. The first proof that Cosmos could be onto something was when Binance picked the Cosmos SDK for the Binance DEX. Here, Binance clearly signaled that they wanted their own chain and the level of control that came with this. Then you have Aragon, who migrated over to Cosmos using the Ethereum compatibility layer for the Cosmos SDK. This makes it super easy for Ethereum dApps to make the switch over. So why did Aragon make the move over to Cosmos? Well, it's all due to governance. Essentially, Ethereum pushed the Istanbul upgrade to close a security vulnerability, and that upgrade broke some of Aragon's smart contracts. Now, that problem could have been completely avoided if Aragon had their own blockchain and weren't living on top of Ethereum's. So, while the Ethereum developers were right to want to patch the vulnerability, it did have unintended consequences for the poor chaps over at Aragon. So, in a nutshell, the wider world of Ethereum killers aim to be like Ethereum, but better. Whereas Cosmos is very different, seeing that it provides the option for every project to have its own unique blockchain. With all that said, I now want to move on and take a look at some of the different use cases for Cosmos. So, people talk about crypto collectibles and in-game items all the time in crypto. If that's passed you by, then you may want to take a few minutes out and watch my video on that right here. However, there's one major problem that all projects issuing collectibles face, and that would be liquidity. Let's imagine I'm on a DEX and there is liquidity there. I might want to issue that hot crypto collectible and distribute it using the DEX. To my annoyance, there's no liquidity on GuyChain, and that's a problem because I want to issue my collectibles on my own blockchain and I would like people to trade those collectibles. The magic of Cosmos is that if there are blockchains on the Cosmos network that have significant liquidity, then you can just bring your new asset over there. That's where interoperability becomes a pretty big deal. You can basically use that IBC module and tell it that you want to lock up that magical collectible on the GuyChain. Then it will be sent to the Cosmos Hub and people will be able to exchange it for other assets. Pretty sweet, right? I guess I could say that this works by magic, but what's really happening behind the scenes is that you're locking up the asset on your blockchain and sending that IBC packet to the Cosmos Hub, telling it that the said asset is locked up. The Cosmos Hub then recognizes the packet and the Tendermint consensus algorithm validates that you've actually locked up the asset. Then it sends you back a packet saying that you have done so. Next, a synthetic representation of that asset is issued on the Cosmos Hub. From there, people can trade that GuyChain asset or move it to that DEX. So, that's a long-winded way of saying that with Cosmos, you can basically take advantage of connections and trust relationships that already exist between projects using the Cosmos Hub and the wider ecosystem without having to bootstrap all that yourself. The way I like to think of this is as follows. Think about the value multiplier effects created with smart contracts in Ethereum. Cosmos has a similar multiplier effect when it comes to the interoperability of different blockchains. Now, I know DeFi is super hot right now, and I do want to move on to explain how Cosmos could be a massive deal for that next emerging niche. Let's not beat around the bush. DeFi has exploded this year to a multi-billion-dollar industry. However, without cross-chain liquidity and a secure interoperable Oracle solution, the global liquidity of DeFi is basically limited to Ethereum. Allow me to explain. Let's start on the oracles, which are essentially decentralized providers of price feeds. These are super important as smart contracts cannot access data outside of their own blockchain network without them. These contracts need price references to function. So yeah, Oracle design is really important if we're to build secure and valuable DeFi applications. It's one of the reasons why I'm so bullish on projects like Chainlink. However, this is mostly limited to those DeFi dApps that use Ethereum. Yes, Chainlink is expanding to a number of other ecosystems, but these integrations have to be done individually. So if you were to build a DeFi protocol on another ecosystem that's not supported by Chainlink, then you will only really have two options. You'll either have to build your own Oracle solution, or you'll have to rely on insecure, centralized alternatives. This is where solving the cross-chain Oracle problem can supercharge exponential growth in the DeFi space. Basically, Cosmos' IBC can make that dream of cross-chain oracles become a reality. Take the Band protocol, for example. This cross-chain Oracle platform chose the Cosmos SDK to build on, and that was due to that IBC module. I've actually done a recent video on Band protocol if you want to learn all about that. Check it out right here. Now, I know what you're thinking. What could the magical combination of Cosmos' inter-blockchain communication protocol and Band protocol bring to DeFi? Basically, they can bring all that DeFi goodness to multiple different blockchains at once. That includes stuff like stablecoins, lending platforms, synthetic assets, margin trading, DEXs, and prediction markets. This is actually a massive deal. The reason why is that the vast majority of DeFi projects can only accept ETH or ERC20 tokens. Cosmos's interoperability basically opens the door for projects and platforms to expand the reach of DeFi beyond the Ethereum ecosystem. Indeed, Carver has done just that recently by building on Cosmos and taking advantage of that interoperability. If you want to learn about how Carver has brought DeFi to BNB Coin by using Cosmos, then I would thoroughly recommend you watch the video right here. So I guess you can now see the value that Cosmos brings to the wider crypto ecosystem and why it's touted as the Internet of Blockchains. What is a more important question though is what this means for the value of Atom. So, shall we take a look at that? Atom is the token of the Cosmos ecosystem. So, how does Atom get value? Now, honestly folks, I think that Atom is one of the most misunderstood tokens in crypto. The reason why is that most people kind of mistake Atom for money. It's true that Atom can be used to pay Cosmos Hub fees to enable swaps to other chains, and it does capture value here. However, it's important to understand that these fees do not have to be paid using Atom alone. Some may see that as limiting its value proposition. Also, the Cosmos Hub is one of many hubs or zones within the wider Cosmos ecosystem. Be aware that each zone will also have its own tokens to incentivize, validate, and secure their zone. This means that the use case of Atom is a little different from most crypto projects, who charge fees within their ecosystem using their native token. I personally view Atom as an experiment in governance. Atom is indeed the only staking token of the Cosmos Hub and basically acts as a license for the holder to vote, validate, or delegate to other validators. Is it possible to have decentralized management of the Internet of Blockchains? Will it be possible for that system to evolve? This is a particularly salient point, seeing that governance has direct control over the economic parameters of Cosmos. However, if Cosmos really is the Internet of Blockchains, then it's safe to say that people will want to stake Atom and have that right to introduce or vote upon governance proposals that may change how the hub operates. Outside of crypto, we see that people are willing to pay top dollar for influence. What that means is that ownership of staked Atom is kind of like owning shares in the Cosmos Hub. So if you think that's going to be a big deal in the future, then there could be value in holding Atom. Now, you might be thinking that Atom is a staking coin and that one of the value propositions is earning staking rewards. Yes, it is true that if you stake Atom, you'll get yourself an 8% return per year, for example. However, staking tokens is commonly misunderstood by many people. Most assume that your investment appreciates by the staking return every year. But the truth is that rewards are created by minting new tokens via inflation, and this depreciates the value of each token circulating. Basically, anyone who stakes gets those inflationary rewards, and everyone who doesn't effectively gets taxed. Non-stakers see their Atom holdings shrink as a proportion of the circulating supply. Around 70% of the Atom supply is currently staked. That means that the true staking rewards are actually lower than you might think. After all, you're only making a real gain from that 30% of tokens that are not staked. All that being said, staking Atom does give you the right to a portion of the fees generated by the Cosmos Hub. So if you think that will capture tremendous value in the future, then that's another good reason to hold the token. A key thing to realize is that unlike so many other crypto tokens, Atom hasn't got a max supply. That means that things like Hoteling's rule cannot be used to project what happens to an asset when it has a finite supply. So just be aware of that inflation if you're going to hodl Atom and not stake it. Right now, Cosmos is transitioning from an inflation-driven economic model to a fee or rent-based one. Essentially, Atom holders will be incentivized to find real sources of revenue and real cash flows that will eventually be distributed to Atom holders. All that potential value capture is generated through the Cosmos Hub. In terms of adoption, there are a growing number of projects that are using Cosmos. You can see a list of all of them over here. Basically, if a ton of revenue-generating businesses use the Cosmos Hub, then that's going to accrue some pretty tasty staking rewards. This will in turn most likely drive up the demand for the token. Also, it's probably fair to assume that projects using this hub will want influence over its future direction and will therefore be incentivized to hold Atom to do that. Now, I've explained a lot of the potential for Cosmos, but are there any challenges? Well, I do need to level with you. All has not been well at Cosmos this year. In short, the Cosmos founding team split at the beginning of the year. Zaki Manian, director of Cosmos's developer, Tendermint, left the project and accused Cosmos's founder and CEO, Jay Kwon, of evading his responsibility to the project. He stated that, quote, "What Jay is doing isn't decentralization. It's a transparent attempt to evade responsibility for Jay's neglect and negligence of the Cosmos project." So, those are some pretty damning accusations. Now, I won't pass judgment as it is just that, an accusation. However, it is something you may want to consider before adding Atom to your portfolio. Alright team, this video is getting long, so it's time to start wrapping things up. Honestly, I think that Cosmos really does have the potential to seriously expand the crypto space due to the interoperability it can bring to projects. Already, dozens of projects have seen that value and decided to build on the Cosmos SDK. Right now, I'm particularly excited about what all that means for DeFi and how Cosmos can bring all that DeFi goodness to other crypto assets. That could really take DeFi to the next level and be the spark that drives the next explosive cycle of growth. All that being said, I do have reservations about the tokenomics of Atom and its investment potential. Personally, I would have loved to have seen Cosmos Hub fees be paid solely in Atom. Yes, governance is important. However, the issue I have with it is that it's hard to value and isn't an exact science. A valuation of $1.1 billion for that just seems pretty damn high if you ask me. On top of that, I find those team accusations pretty alarming. So, yes, if you hadn't guessed, I do question Atom's ability to value capture and live up to its lofty valuation. That being said, I am bullish about Cosmos as a project. A project creating tremendous value for the wider crypto ecosystem. I guess time will tell, but the key question on my mind is, how much value will Atom capture? And that's it, folks, my overview of Cosmos. I've done a lot of talking, so it's now time to hear your thoughts on Cosmos. Do you think Atom is overvalued? And are there any other projects you lot are backing? Let me know in the comments. Finally, if you gained value from this video, then please share the love. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe if you loved it. Much more crypto content is in the pipes as we speak. Okay folks, I have something to admit. I didn't cover everything that I wanted to in that video. It really sucks. But this is exactly why I've started a weekly newsletter. It's basically a compilation of all the interesting content that may have flown under your radar. News, reviews, analysis, and hot market tips. Want to join? It's actually pretty damn easy. Head on over to the description. Down there is a link to my sign-up form. All you need to do is enter your email, hit submit, and bada bing, bada boom, you are a member. My next email is going out pretty soon, and it's one you won't want to miss.